All right, just counting mostly of Black sports insiders as well as HBCU legends on Sports Illustrated. We have with us, well, she's a legendary figure already, right? She's putting together one of the best basketball tournaments of all time on the East Coast right now. And I wish I was there hanging out with them, but we all know who she is Jacqie McWilliams-Parker. How you doing, Commissioner?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Or should I say magical? That's the word this week. Magical.
Magical. Okay. All right.
Magical.
I
Yes.
like that. Magical is great. So you guys are doing a magical. I would say the whole event has been magical just to look uh, forward to in the evening when I'm looking at the basketball tournament as well as the activities around it. Talk about what's happening over in Baltimore at this time.
Yeah, so the games have started already. We started at 12 noon and we go to tonight to 8. Hopefully there's no overtimes, but if it is, that's just what CIAA does, right?
Yeah.
I was over in the convention center. We opened up Fan Fest. Folks are pouring in the building today to be a part of that experience where there's activations and talent on stage. Our bands and cheers are they're providing entertainment. Samaritan's Feet today will be, I think we distribute out some school shoes to some kids,
Really?
elementary school kids today this morning. I didn't get a chance to get over there. Wish I could have, but that's our partner, 11 years of that partnership. And we've been working with them to make sure that we can make impact in the community. Also, whether you're downtown proper, but getting out in the community and making sure that there's some footprints left there.
Yeah, well, that's really good. I was looking at the other events that you guys had a breakfast this morning as well, and you guys been honoring some of the legendary women of the CIAA. Talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was really special this morning, our Hall of Fame. And, it wasn't just basketball players. We have track star, we have football player. I mean, we had an SID, Arlene Creek from Bowie State. I mean, I think I was really blown away by all of them. I think specifically with Arlene Creek, who played basketball way before it was a part of the NCAA and before we even had it in the CIAA 50 years ago. And so, you have some of that past, that present, the Shaw University athletes. I just that award by itself is special because it really stamps the importance of why telling our stories, her stories, are important to this conference. And we have a responsibility, Kyle, to make sure that we do that to preserve our history, but also let our young people know that I didn't get here, or none of them got there by ourselves.
That's right. I was talking to Coach Melvin Spears, and he last night, and he was telling me that we got to remember we are where we are off the hard work and pioneering spirits of a lot of people ahead of us. And we have to always appreciate the history, especially being this is the last day of Black History Month, right? Uh,
Yes.
but one thing that struck me very hard is that when I was looking at the 50th year of women playing basketball in the CIAA, 50 years, right? And I'm thinking about my age right now, and I don't want to date myself, but that's not a long time ago. But it is impactful for what has been accomplished such a short time. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a 79th tournament for the men's basketball tournament. And I remember when we celebrated it in Charlotte in 2020, the 75th anniversary. And even when we did that, what I wanted to make sure is that our women felt included in that 75th. And so we highlighted the men's tournament, but we also made sure that the women felt a part of that. For so long in this conference, unintentional, the women had separate banquets. We didn't have the television times like all week like the men did. We played in separate buildings until we got in the championship. And so we've come a long way. I think with the leadership of myself and our board and our coaches and administrators and just the growth of the game over the couple of decades, it's been really important to make sure that we highlight and celebrate these contributions. And I hope our young people who will say a different story when they tell their story about their experience, it will be different than mine. And then Miss Creek's experience was different than mine. But at the end of the day, I think we all have appreciated the opportunity to play in this conference and make a contribution to the CIAA. So the 50th is it's sweet for me. I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
I played in it. I've coached in it, and now I get to lead the experience.
Oh man, that's awesome. It's just a rich history, and kudos to you and as well as your staff in highlighting and spotlighting that for everybody to really understand how important it was and how important it is at this time
Mhm.
for the women in CIAA. All right, let's talk a little bit about past week. The HBC Legacy Bowl happened, and you had quite a number of CIAA representatives there. And we spoke on this briefly last year. How do you feel as far as your the talent level is really showing up very well in the CIAA when it comes to compared to the much larger SWAC and MEAC?
Yeah, one, I'm grateful for, Doug Williams and, his team for having that vision to provide that opportunity and working with the NFL to make sure that our HBCU football players and coaches have that experience. And I think it's important, Josh Williams that played in it a few years ago before he got drafted.
And
I
two
mean,
rings now, right?
in
Two
two
Super Bowl
rings,
rings.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you win a CIAA championship and then you play in three Super Bowls right after that. I mean, what a delight for this young man who's bright and talented, and gets to do his craft. But I think having that Legacy Bowl really gave him an opportunity to showcase his skills. If we didn't have it, would he have gotten drafted? Maybe so. But I think this was a great opportunity for him and all the other players to have that opportunity to have that experience. I talked to Coach Parker earlier today or last night and asked him how it was, and it just gets better and better every year. And he had a great experience as well. You have these coaches from all of the CIAA, SIAC, SWAC, and MEAC being able to showcase their talent as coaches and friends and
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
But then you have these athletes. I mean, I think we had maybe 7 or 8 athletes from our conference that participated in it. I mean, for me, that's like look at my babies, and we have celebrated that as well. I mean, it's a delight for me to know that we are being included in this Legacy Bowl in the history and being a part of the history of it as well.
Awesome. Now let's switch it over back to basketball, but the HBCU All Star game that's going to take place in San Antonio this year. I believe Travis Williams is trying to include the ladies to have be a part of the All Star game as well. Has he reached out to you guys as far as any of the CIAA all stars that may get a chance to participate in this event? Because this is groundbreaking as well.
Yeah, it is. Travis, I think this is third year, maybe fourth year for the
Fourth,
men's,
fourth.
fourth year
Hmm.
for the men's. I mean, I think we talked about when he started the men's about making sure that the women would be included at some point. I think that he's gotten enough support and leverage to bring the women in. He's made connections like Travis does with all of
Yeah.
our coaches and our administrators,
Hmm.
to make sure that they're aware that this is happening. Probably just like at the end of our tournaments, he'll work with our media relations and make sure that he can get information on them and work with the SIDs on whoever they select. The CIAA and our other HBCU conferences. We appreciate him doing that type of work. Now we're not official partners with it, but we also understand that giving our kids another opportunity to play the game that they love and having our women, particularly for us in our 50th anniversary, I think it's a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, yeah. I'm look forward to seeing how this all translates down in San Antonio, right outside of my neck of the woods here in Houston,
Yes.
Texas. It should be pretty nice. Let's talk about something more serious. The four commissioners, you guys sent a letter to Congress. We spoke last year about the the effects that legislation regarding the NIL would have on your conference specifically. What's your feeling right now?
Well, I think, I think the legislators, I think there's some written legislation that aligns with what we're trying to get to. I mean, I think it's a bipartisan legislation. So there's still some education about the impact it has, to get those on both sides to understand the value of college athletics, but specifically for HBCUs, where we're trying to protect our HBCUs as best as we can. Paying student athletes is just not an option for us. And could we try to do it? We probably could, but our format, everything would be different for us. I mean,
Right,
we would have to
right.
prioritize what we would be able to do and not be able to do. I mean, HBCUs have been grounded on education. And so I think there's still a lot of education that we are trying to do with the CBC, other legislators to understand, like, we see the big picture and the concerns, right, of all this money being made, and that student athletes should have the opportunity. And guess what? I think NIL is gonna play itself out. I still think that we need a level playing ground so that different states don't have all the different legislation. And there's some balance in that to manage that and to protect the student athletes as well.
Mm,
Because you're hearing stories about their experiences, and you're hearing experiences from the institutions. So hopefully that'll get played out, in the right way, so that there's integrity in the game, and we're in the business for the right reason.
gotcha. Now, is this forcing all of the conferences to be in compliance by 2026, or is it by fall 2025?
So there's difference. Division One has a policy that they have to manage with how they're going to opt in or opt out. Division Two is not a part of that. But just
Okay.
trust me, when Division One stuff happens, not as drastic as them, but some of the effects and the funneling down to Division Two, sometimes there's impact there. But Division One has to make decisions about roster management and funding and all those other things to manage that. We're here to support our HBCU colleagues as they're having to make decisions about what they're going to do.
Okay. Excellent. Let's get back to the CIAA. The tournament has been held in Baltimore for what, past 3, 4 years now?
4 year. This is the fourth year. I'm counting
Fourth
that
year.
virtual tournament in 2021 though. So
Right, right. The COVID year.
exactly. So it's been 5 years that we've partnered with them, but 4 years in person, and one more year. 2026 will be the last year of the extension that we gave them.
Okay. Give a quick explanation what's going on, because there's stories saying that Charlotte is in play to be a host and other cities are also vying in to bid for hosting the tournament. What's happening and what's the process?
Yeah, so in January, we put out the intent to bid those cities or states that were interested in being a part of hosting the CIAA tournament 27 and beyond. It's probably like 3 years, 27 through 30, or unless the board does a 4 year deal, unless we
Okay.
do a 4 year deal. We've got intents from cities that want to be a part of the process of bidding and winning the tournament in their cities. We've heard Charlotte, obviously Baltimore has submitted their intent. We've heard Philadelphia. I believe I heard Pittsburgh as well.
Really?
And these cities come, yeah, they'll come and visit and at this tournament and, check it out and just see. The bid deadline is April 15th,
Hmm.
for them to submit a final bid for consideration of the board that will look at it over this summer to make a final decision about where we're going after 26. So the hope is that we'll have a decision before the end of the year, but this summer, so that we can start marketing that city with in the upcoming 2026 tournament.
Okay, marketing is what you guys do very well
Thank
over at
you.
CIAA.
Thank you.
Any last thoughts about the tournament? What's happening? I know championship is going to happen on Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah, women's championship on Saturday at 1, men's championship at 4 in the CFG arena. We have a very intentional goal working with the city to sell as many tickets as we can get to pack the building on Saturday. You know, my ultimate dream since I've been here is to get this building sold out like it was when I was playing. We just
Yeah.
have so many competing things with us. I mean, we're probably like our worst enemy and best friend. We just got a lot of things going. And, if you don't want to watch basketball in person, you can watch it on our ESPN Plus network. If you don't want to watch basketball and you want to hang out, you can go to Fan Fest and a lot of good entertainment, local and national. But I really would encourage people. The reason why we're in Baltimore or any city is because of basketball.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why we're here. And we get to do a lot of other things outside of that. But the benefit of us being able to do that is because we're able to have these games. And so we need people to support the games.
Please support you guys. Great games in a nail biting games the past couple days, right? But it's really been a great event altogether.
Yes.
Commissioner, I appreciate your time as always. You always we're family, so anything you need
Thank
here,
you.
always feel free to be able to reach out to HBCU Legends. Okay,
All right. Thank you so much. CIAA tournament.org. You can get all your information as well. So thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you.
you're welcome. That's Commissioner Jacqie McWilliams-Parker. I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. You guys have a great one, and don't forget support the CIAA tournament. Watch it on ESPN Plus, and just be there or be square. Take care. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.